Hey everyone, in this video we're going to talk about the pros and cons of living here in West Palm Beach and why you should live here. If you want to learn about that, stay tuned. Hey, this is Lisa with Homes by Lisa at eXp Realty, and today we're discussing the pros and cons of living in West Palm Beach and why you should be here. Now, before we get too far into the video, just a quick reminder that if you're not already subscribed to this channel, make sure you do by clicking the subscribe button below. We come out with a new video every week all about living, working and playing in West Palm Beach, and you don't want to miss it. If you're someone looking to move or relocate here, I'd love to help out in any way I can. My contact information is below. Feel free to call, text or email me with any questions you may have about living in West Palm Beach and the surrounding areas. So let's get started. So I've lived here in Florida since '89, been here forever. And one of the things that really attracted me to living here was the weather. Coming from England, where the summer could be like 2 days. They always say about England, if you don't like the weather, wait a minute. So coming to Florida, one of the things I really was looking forward to was the weather. And I got what I wanted. December in Florida is amazing. You can go on the beaches, you can walk down the street. You actually need to bring a jacket for inside because the air conditioning can be kind of cold. But to be outside, you don't usually need anything. It's just, short sleeves and shorts. So to me, winter is amazing. The average temperature in December here is 74 degrees. So that's nothing to kind of sneeze at, especially when I call my family back home in England and they're like wrapped up with needing heat on in the house. So it's definitely a bonus for me. Everything is outdoors, so you totally can just move your whole life outside in the winter. It's kind of backwards because I grew up playing out in the summer and staying inside in the winter, so it's definitely backwards, but it's definitely something that I didn't mind getting used to. There's so many things happening here in the winter. There is the South Florida Fair, there's a food and wine festival, the Palm Beach Boat Show, there's a garlic fest. There is so many different things for you to get involved with. So my first pro would definitely be the weather. So you're ready for pro number 2, and that's the food. I am very cosmopolitan in what I like to eat, and I'm willing to try most things. I don't do seafood. I'll do fish, but I'm not into shellfish. But pretty much anything else is fair game, I think. Unless you give me something weird to eat, and it might be a no. So if you're into burgers, steaks, kind of the true typical American fare, there's a load of really great restaurants here, really nice steak restaurants. West Palm Beach is the Okeechobee Steakhouse, which has been around forever, and they do great deals on your birthday, you get a free meal. There's some really nice restaurants out west also that I like to go to, if that's your thing, American fare. But if you like something a little more adventurous, if you're into, say, Japanese or Vietnamese or Indian, I grew up in England. Indian food is pretty much like McDonald's here. Like, you get it everywhere. And I grew up going to some of the best Indian restaurants, and I've actually found a few really nice ones here. I also love Japanese food and discovered an amazing Japanese restaurant in Northwood a few weeks ago, which is West Palm Beach area. There's a ton of really great restaurants, so whatever you like, you can get it. And then if you have the kids, so you want to do like the Fridays, the Chuck E. Cheese, that kind of thing to please your kids, there's that there too. So definitely, whatever your palate, you can totally find something to meet it. If you need some tips or some kind of places that you want to go to, just message me below. I'll be more than happy to send you some advice or some places to check out. So pro number 2 is food. Pro number 3 is a school district. And here's some numbers for you. Palm Beach County is the 10th largest school district in the United States and the 5th largest in Florida. We have 180 public schools and over 100 private schools. We have almost 50 charter schools, and all that is filled with 194,000 students. Isn't that crazy? That's a heck of a lot of kids. Plus, our public school system has what they call academies within the school system. So if your child has a desire to do, say, pre-med or culinary or engineering or something that maybe their homeschool doesn't offer, you can actually apply to go into one of the academies. There is an application process that's opened once a year through the school district, but you can pick the academy that your child would like to go into, and they have this from middle school and into high school. And then you can pick what they want to do and try and get them into that academy. So it's absolutely amazing that your student is able to concentrate on something that they love throughout their school career, and then maybe go on to take that high school, college and beyond. There's a lot of things available to our students that the school district provides. Whether you have a student who's special needs or an exceptional student, maybe English isn't the first language, there's a lot of different things out there to help our kids get through school and help them thrive and become an amazing person in society. So I would definitely put the school district up there as my number 3 pro. So pro number 4, and this has to be year-round sports. And it's not that we don't play sports in other parts of the country or the world. I grew up in England. I know what it's like going to a football match or a rugby match in January when you have to wrap up with gloves, everything. I mean, it's freezing, hats, gloves, the whole thing. It's absolutely freezing cold. So it's not that I don't know or that I'm thinking that there isn't year-round sports in colder climates. I just don't want to stand outside watching my kids playing soccer or football or whatever it may be when it's freezing cold outside. I don't find that fun. So for me, the fact that my son played football and he played baseball and he played basketball and everything known to man, my son tried it. I didn't have to freeze to death watching him do it. So for any parent out there who knows my pain, you will totally understand what I'm talking about. He would play football in January or whatever, and I would take suntan lotion with me, not a scarf and gloves and a hat. Totally different feeling, I promise you. You will thank me if your kids move down here and want to play sports in the winter. We don't get snowed out in our sports. Our sports, we never got a notification to say, sorry, field's under snow today, you aren't playing, but we do get rain and storms, especially in the summertime. So we would get notifications. Sometimes the fields were closed because of torrential rain and the after effects of that. But they still can play sports year round. So I am going with that. My pro number 4 is year round sports. Now we're at the last part, pro number 5. For me, that is the proximity to vacation spots. I lived in Miami when I first moved to the States, and although I loved it at the time, the traffic got crazy, and I also don't speak a word of Spanish, so it was very difficult for me to kind of get myself around. I moved up to the West Palm area. It's a little quieter. Not to say that it's like a sleepy town, it definitely isn't, but it's not as crazy as Miami, but I'm an hour away. So if I want to go to South Beach, if I want to go to the Windward Walls, if I want to do any of the touristy stuff down in Miami, I totally can do it, and it's an hour's drive. It's no big deal. I go up and down to the airport all the time to pick up and drop people off. The same goes for like cruises. Before I had kids, me and my husband would go on weekend cruises. We would go down to the port of Miami on a Friday. We would get back Monday morning, and we'd come back home and go to work. So the proximity for all of that stuff is fabulous. We also get great rates for cruises as Florida residents. When the cruise lines come back after COVID, we'll be able to start taking advantage of that again. And like I said, we're not far. We don't have to deal with getting a flight into town and then going to the cruise. We just jump in the car and drive down, which also is great because we have no limit on luggage, and I don't know how to pack light. The opposite way is if we go north, we're close enough to Orlando and to all the parks. We would go for day trips when my kids were little. We would leave early in the morning, drive up to Orlando, spend a day at the parks, put them into the PJs, drive home and get them into bed. So it was we could just do day trips to Orlando. And if anyone who doesn't know, once you move here, they do have Florida resident season passes where you could go to the parks. There's some blackout dates, usually the days that you don't want to go, which is say Christmas, New Year, the crazy busy times. But we would just drive up to the parks for the day. We wanted to go to Busch Gardens, which is a little further, but we'd go there and back in a day. So your proximity to anything is real close. If you like the west coast of Florida, go over to Naples. You don't have to fly. Everything is super accessible, which makes it, to me, a definite pro. So pro number 5 is the proximity to vacation spots. So here we go with con number 1, and it's the weather. I hate to be the breaker of bad news, but our summers are rough. I don't like to sugarcoat things because I hate someone to come down and move here and then say, oh my God, you never told me how bad the summers are. And yes, they can be rough, but they can also be amazing. It's not all bad news. But we do have, it's more the high humidity than the high temperatures, because the temperatures might not get into the 90s some days, but the humidity is brutal. I used to have long dark hair and I would come home from work every day just like a frizz ball. I like the winter actually because it's good for hair. So the summers can be rough with the weather. We have rainstorms every day. You can time it. It's usually at school pickup time, which was fabulous when my kids were in school. Yes, the heavens open around about 2-3 o'clock in the afternoon for approximately an hour, and then it will stop. You will walk outside and then you get your facial because it's like walking into a sauna. But that's the price you pay for living in the tropics. The heat does take getting used to. I remember coming home from, I think I'd been in England one summer and came into, landed at the airport, walked outside, and you hit a wall of humidity. And it takes getting used to, but I wouldn't change a thing now. I love living here, but it is something that does take getting used to. So we get tropical storms every afternoon. You can time that by when you have to pick your kids up from school, which is fabulous. Between 2 and 3 o'clock, the heavens will open. You can see it coming. The clouds gather. It really gets really dark, and then the heavens open, and you get this torrential downpour that would literally soak you to your skin. If you stand outside for like 3 minutes, you will be drenched through. The rain stops, the sun comes out, and you go outside and it's a sauna. But it's all good because you can get a facial. So yes, we definitely have the ups and downs, the highs and lows, however you want to call it. But definitely con number 1 would be the summer weather. So now we're going to do con number 2, which is those itty bitty, yucky little teeny things that you can't see, mosquitoes. How many times have you gone out and you're going out for the night or whatever, and you come home or you're sitting in a restaurant, you start scratching and there's these bugs everywhere and they're flying around, and you get home and you have these massive welts on your arms and legs? Don't you hate that? I have tried so many different things to try and avoid getting bitten. Over the years, everything, but you know what I discovered? As soon as I had my daughter, they went after her and no longer go after me. So #MumWin, have a child. So kidding apart, my daughter, who's now 18, totally constantly gets eaten up alive by mosquitoes. It was me up until I had her, like I said. So what can you use? There's a lot of different things out there that you can use in order to avoid or try and alleviate not having the bites. Avon, I know, has I think it's called Skin So Soft, that you spray on, and that actually doesn't smell bad. Some of the ones that you can get in the drugstore smell disgusting. But you have to do it because those mosquito bites, they are the worst. So con number 2 has to be mosquitoes. Okay, so con number 3. Now we can't talk about Florida without talking hurricanes. It's a fact of life. We have hurricanes here in Florida. This is the price that we pay for living in the tropics. Hurricane season runs from June 1st to November the 30th. A lot of times the major activity doesn't happen till August time. But we do start getting named storms early on. A lot of times they don't form into anything, but my thing is I kind of watch them forming off the coast of Africa and watch them traveling across the world until they get kind of closer to our neighborhood. We just avoided one, actually everyone in Florida avoided one last week, Elsa, which kind of fizzled out, but it started off aiming towards us and then it did a turn. So you never quite know where these hurricanes are going to be. And the problem with that is, do we get prepared? So you guys remember what it was like during COVID when you wanted to get toilet paper and the wipes, the antiseptic wipes, and you couldn't find them anywhere. That's Florida during hurricane season. we get a notification of a hurricane that's in the horizon, it's coming our way, and you need to kind of button down the hatches and get all your supplies in. So we go racing to the store and everything's gone. Not just toilet paper and usually it's all the canned food. Don't ever do what I did. My very first hurricane in Florida, I went out and I bought supplies, and I also bought a ton of ice cream, totally not registering that hurricanes come and you lose power. Yes, guys, I had about 12 gallons of ice cream that I needed to eat. Well, not exactly, but I had all this ice cream that I needed to get rid of. My neighbors loved me. So we just stock up on, non-perishable items and a lot of water. You need to stock up on water. But I have to say, I have a sister who lives in New Zealand. They get earthquakes all the time, and our friends in California too. You have no idea when that's going to hit. I would rather have a hurricane every day of the week. At least I can see it coming. I can follow it. I know if I need to put my shutters up. I know if I need to escape town, whatever it is. Earthquakes, they just happen. We don't have that luxury. So as much as it's a con, because you have to deal with it, and 3 days or a week without electricity in Florida in August is not fun, I will tell you. But at least we're able to prepare, and we know it's coming, and we can figure out what we need to do. Unlike our friends to the west, who they get earthquakes and it happens. So you just wake up one night and the earth moves, as they say. So my con number 3 is hurricanes. So far be it for me to bite the hand that feeds me, so they say, but I said I was going to keep this real. So con number 4 is the winter crowds. As much as I love Florida and everybody else who lives here loves Florida, so does the rest of the world, especially the people who are living in colder climes up north or Europe. Winter time is when we get really packed with visitors. So if you're used to going to dinner and you might have a 15-20 minute wait, that could now be 2 hours. Your drive to the mall could now take twice as long because there's so much more traffic on the road. If you're planning on going out for dinner on Saturday night, you may need to make your plan a week before to make sure that you can make a reservation to get into the restaurant. You really can't just show up on spec anymore. You really need to make a booking. Now, I love the snowbirds, so please don't get me wrong, because I do know that they keep the economy going. We keep our, everybody who works in hotels and restaurants in business. Even me as a real estate agent, I get busy in the wintertime. But it's just something when you're living here and you're used to kind of being able to zip to different places and running here for dinner and let's just go here. It kind of takes a little more planning, but it's all good because they enjoy it, they bring money into the economy, so I'm not knocking it. I'm just keeping it real, as they say. So my con number 4 would be the winter visitors. Finally, we're on to con 5. I don't know if you guys have seen these little bug things. They're like little black bugs with red heads, I think, and maybe like 5 millimeters, 6 millimeters long. They're always joined together. They're called Lovebugs. They fly in pairs. I think they have mates for life, which I think their life is like 2 minutes. But they fly in pairs and they do no harm to us. They don't hurt us, but they are disgusting. And you'll see them swarming in the summertime. They swarm near cars, and apparently they're actually attracted by the fumes of a car, or the fuel of the car. So you're going to find them, say, on the highway. When you're driving at high speed, they're swarming at high speed, and they'll attach to the front of the car, to the radiator, to the windshield. They're disgusting because when you get to your destination, your whole front of your car is covered in squished love bugs. They're not good for the paint on the car either. They can damage your paintwork, the engine on the car. It's not something that you can just leave there and wash off eventually. You have to take care of it because it does something to the paint. I don't know if it's the acid. I'm not a bug person. I hate bugs, but I hate love bugs especially. I hate the big things, but the love bugs are just more annoying. Like I said, they don't hurt you, but they get everywhere in the summer. And it's one thing when I go, when we do road trips or whatever, or traveling, not even road trips, traveling on 95 in, going somewhere, you get to wherever your destination is, these bugs have covered your car. So Don't say I didn't warn you. But con number 5, and my final one, is the Lovebugs. Okay, so that's it for now. My pros and cons of living in West Palm Beach. If you're looking to move, relocate, or just have questions, leave a comment below, or you can call, text, or email me. Till next time, I'm Lisa Taylor with Homes by Lisa at eXp Realty. For your home, tailor-made.